So round two, and it's Romans against Romans. Almost identical armies. Funny thing was, the morning of the tournament, or the day before, my son was asking me, what happens if you draw another Roman army? And I was saying, well, historically, the one army Romans probably fought most is other Romans. So here we go. We got Mark Antony against a rival. We're scrapping over the bones after Caesar. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so my opponent in round two was Bob, who's an absolutely lovely guy. We hadn't met before, but it was like, well, we just made new friends, which to me is a lot of what these tournaments is all about. Now, getting back to the battle, I've plonked, as you know, I put my armies very condensed into that central position. Bob's had to deploy first, and I'm really trying to keep my options open whether to go right or left. And I've thrown a bit of a dummy here, because I've put a unit in the middle. You can see a unit out to the far left. Most people then expect me to put another unit on the right, which I can do. But what I'm actually going to do is squeeze another unit in between them and go for the heavily loaded left flank. Armies are almost identical, legionaries against legionaries. I don't think there's much difference. I get an extra skirmisher. I think I had slightly more cavalry, which is what I decided to concentrate on. In a game with fairly equal forces, you've got to create a local advantage somewhere. You've got to go for that crucial point and try and win somewhere in the battlefield and hold on to the rest. There's various ways of doing this, attack through the centre and flank attacks, envelopments, but the overall principle is the same. Get the local advantage at the Schwerpunkt, as the Germans call it, and then hope you can win it before you lose it somewhere else. I should also mention the scenery. We both, well, neither of us really wanted much scenery, both identical armies. We just plonked a few down and carried on, skipping the procedure slightly. But we're playing a game we both want to play, so why suffering when you don't want to play? So there we go, nice open battlefield. And as you can see, I've squeezed in my third command there, and there's a nice picture of Bob, always smiling, always happy. We did have a good laugh, and the card draws were quite bizarre in this game, which added even more to the amusement. So there's a look at the setup. I'm loading everything to the left. I'm going to go as fast as I can to try and break the left flank as I look, and hope that my other command can just play for time and hold off the right hand flank. So there you go, first turn. I've just got a massive activation cards. It's like one of those dream first turns. If you want to move quickly, whoosh. I think Bob had a bit of a shock. He told me afterwards. He didn't expect the Romans to move quite so quickly. But in turn one, if there's nothing in front of you, you get the extra march square. So with two activations, you're 3 squares across the table already. So it's you can get there quickly. And on the right, I'm just trying to create a bit of a standoff. You can see I've got basically 2 units of legionaries standing off against 4 or 5. And I'm going to have to just maneuver, back off, try and stay alive. It looks even scarier because Bob's jammed on so many figures in his really nice looking army. Whereas I've got 9 figures on a base. I've tried my best, but it's nothing like the way Bob's piled them on. And this looks very scary on this side. And don't forget, those large Roman units can go sideways. Right, so back over to the left. We're trying to push up. Now the enemy cavalry is really isolated on that flank. They're going to try and hold things up. They're going to have a tough job on their own. So wham! In we go on the left. Cavalry's gone in. Attack, attack, attack. Both my cavalry. The light cavalry sweeping right round the back, you can see. So already, enemy units there. 2 units of cavalry are almost surrounded already. They've got 1, 2, 3 flank squares attacking them. The guys to their front. And I'm hoping to punch through with my general, as you can see, with the legionaries. But that's a fairly even fight, so we'll have to see how that goes. So what I'm looking forward to get another turn in so I can turn my cavalry and start getting flank and rear charges. Here's the centre of the battlefield. I actually was going to wade in and throw the pillars and get stuck in, but I'm thinking, why am I doing that quickly? I need time to win the battle on the left. So I'm not being over aggressive. I've just pushed them in the face, really, to stop them wheeling around and causing any trouble for my left flank attack. In hindsight, I could have held back another square, which would have made it easier for me to hold the right without being overrun. The difficulty is in these games, we are playing quickly, and you do want a decisive result. You know, an inconclusive draw is no good to anyone, as you saw in game 1. Okay, so slightly, if you can allow for the angle, this is my right flank, and I dragged these guys back a bit. They did overextend, and the idea is the right-hand unit is covering the flank of the guys with the cloaks on. I'm just trying to stop anyone getting overwhelmed or a flank attack. I can't really stop it. It's open ground, but I have got the room to manoeuvre and play for time there. So quite an exciting game again. So, of course, Romans can sidestep. So they let us move to the side, and Bob's crashed into the flank of my legion with the extra attacks and no fight back. But I got very fortunate and not take any damage this turn. So, yeah, this flank's getting overrun. But they're not surrounded and they're not swamped. So I can always keep moving them out of the contact is my plan. So the centre, yeah, so I did push a bit too hard. And you can see the red dots. So it's luck of the draw, isn't it? Even units fighting each other. I've failed armour save. See a lot of low cards there. And Bob hasn't. So in the centre, I'm now losing the centre. Those units are disrupted or wounded. If they take another red pip, I'm going to have a hole in the centre, and I've got no reserve covering them. So I'm going to get those out. Oh, it's a shame this is a blurred photograph, because this is getting exciting. Even Simon Miller, the writer of the rules, was coming around taking photographs, because there's so many units starting to surround that cavalry on the left. And not destroying it. There we are. You can see on this photograph, I think we managed to destroy one cavalry unit on the left for all those flank attacks. So there's still one there, getting slowly overwhelmed. As you can see in the centre, the legionaries have dropped back. Always remember that in this game. Get out of trouble. If you're in trouble, get out, save them, rally them. Especially quality stuff like Romans. Good chance of rallying, and they can go back in again. Right hand side, same thing there. They're backing off. Just, as I would say, trading space for time to hope my left flank can do its job. How much table we're going to have. We're trying to hold on the right. Just avoid contact with these 4 units against 6. So it's not massive. I'm taking 2 extra units out of the game. Anyway, the left flank's doing well. One little bit of terrain there. A bit of difficult terrain just to help things slightly. Made it a little bit more difficult. And, oh yeah, I can't remember what the Queen of Hearts does. That's a shame. Played the special Ace in the Hole card, anyway, special strategy. And got another flank attack in. And luckily for me, the Romans survived. This was been a bit of a trade-off, because Bob's throwing loads of cards on this flank and trying to break my legions and failing. And I'm throwing loads of cards on the left flank, a lot more, and it's also failing. Right, so back over on the right-hand side, you can see units in the centre. Managed to get them out of trouble before they get overrun. I can't keep coming backwards, because then the guys in the middle are going to get outflanked and overrun. I'm thinking with the on the right, they could turn to face the units outflanking them. And that's very tempting, stop them getting outflank attacked. But the problem is the unit above them can then sidestep and whack the guys in the cloaks on the flank, and my whole flank starts to roll up very quickly. If they come back, then the same thing happens. They're no longer covering the flank of the guys with the cloaks. It's a tricky decision here. And I think in some ways the guys in the far right are just going to have to be brave and do their best, because the key is time, and I don't want to lose any units over here obviously, but I can't afford for the middle to get exposed yet, especially with them all on damage status. So over on the left, this great big crush. People like Simon was coming over and having a look. The cavalry's turned, there's hitting in the flank. We weren't exactly sure if I hit in the flank which unit they charge, whether it's one in the front or the one in the rear of the two. Can't quite remember how we sorted it out. Also, you see the green marker there. The Romans, the legionaries, the legionaries have rallied. My other legion got damaged. Having no luck at all on these one-to-one encounters in the middle. I just need one to go my way so I can break through. But there again, so does my opponent. So there we are, time to rally. As you can see, an ace in the centre. I didn't get to activate. I was thinking I'd probably have to back off again. Surely that flank's going to come running through. I've got stuff in the rear and all sorts going on there now. But there you go. They're just not doing it. That's just driving me crazy. Right there, slight change in picture quality. We are over to my mobile phone. The batteries ran out. I hadn't charged between rounds. So I hope you can bear with me on this. Well, this is where I did get a bit of luck. Over on the right-hand side, you see the Romans, the red cloaks on. They've actually beaten their opponent. I think I actually managed to get a flank attack. We're both dancing around each other. Great manoeuvring battle. TTS at its best, I think. Romans are brilliant for this game. And really entertaining. And they managed to break through. So we're in a bizarre situation where my main force is on the left, failing to break through. And then a couple of units on the right have had some success. But it's only luck and numbers are going to pay. As you can see, we're backed off in the centre, just trying to rally. I'm really trying to do this game without any casualties. So I see the gap behind them where they've amazingly just bashed through the opposite number, many reactivations. And what this does let me do, the guys in the bottom right can now turn to face the flank threat. So this flank's not looking as vulnerable. Luck of the draw sometimes. Was up on the left-hand, top left-hand corner, still not breaking through. The middle, refusing to rally. I think that's where my opponent missed a chance. He could have pushed through in the centre and hit me while I was still disordered. He might well have tried and not got the activations to do it. But that was where I was vulnerable, that centre. 2 damage units, well 3 actually, waiting for him to push through the centre and smash me open. And then I could win the left flank. So what? I probably already lost the battle. So it's a race in many ways. Now this is where Simon came in to take a photograph, because you got the unit, top left just off the corner, they're surrounded. We're trying to push through with the legions. So of course the legion in the centre has now been hitting the flank, but I've got a legion now behind the ones with the white crests. So they had one turn to try and kill me, got one save, didn't make the other one. I can get them out and their flank is going to be covered. Yes, this is the big moment, actually, because if you notice, the unit on the right, I've actually broken through in the centre as well now. So on the right, as you're looking, you recognise my famous Caesar figure with the red cloak and the masterly command. He's now turned in. So we've now got every unit you see on screen can attack those cavalry. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units surrounding. So it's pointless trying to rally, because rallying's at -5 or -6. So you need like 10s. But they're still there. They're still holding this flank up. Oh, man. I think of just go the other way. Just leave them surrounded and march my legionaries to roll up the central flank. But there you go. It's got to go, surely. Just my day of cavalry doing brilliant flanking charges and not making anything happen as a result. But you see the centre starting to go my way. There's another legion that's coming on the right. The white crest, as you see. So I've got to watch for that. But I've got a flank on him. They are wounded, my guys, so they're hitting on 8s. Not as good as hitting on 6s, but it's more of an even contest there. It hasn't gone as badly as it could have done on this side. So on the left, killed one of those cavalry units, top left-hand corner. We had a laugh, one of them finally died, but still the other half is there. What can they do? They've tried charging, and this is what I think, especially a photograph of Bob pointing, because they've charged straight ahead and almost done what Alexander did and run through the unit in front of them, and you can see there. The legionaries facing that vastly outnumbered cavalry have been damaged, and I'm thinking, please, no. If he charges through, he can escape through the back then, and I'm left with a pile of troops facing no one. But there we go. So top left-hand corner finally does go. I'm sweeping around the back left, and this time I have remembered there's empty flanks. Also got that unit as a middle centre in front of his camp, more or less surrounded. We're running out of time. We're playing very quickly now, and fair play to Bob. He was very good. He kept playing quickly as well. It had gone so crazily. He was actually cheering me on to try and get some hits, because I don't know how many times I tried to destroy that cavalry. So it went on and on and on. Loads of people watching and laughing. And then on the right-hand side, I was cheering Bob on because he'd had so many flank attacks on my legions, and nothing came off. So just one of those crazy games. But eventually, it did finally break through, and I've taken the slightly cowardly way out. Instead of trying to break... I think I've had one go, sorry. I jumped the story a bit. Slight plot spoiler. I'm trying to destroy this legions in the middle by hitting them on the flank, hitting them on the rear, hitting them on the front. But they're making their armour saves. They're proving very tough. But I've now killed, I think about 8-9 points with, or destroyed. So it's tempting just to try and grab the camp maybe and end the game that way. So there's an overview. You can pause and have a look. You see the left flank as I look has disappeared. I mean, to be honest, there wasn't a lot there, but it was mainly Roman cavalry, and started rolling up the flank. taking out a couple of legionaries from the centre and just backing off. I felt a bit cheap, really, because Bob deserved some points. Played in a good spirit, but what can you do? So my guys in the middle, all wounded. This right flank held on just long enough. Everything I've got is damaged, and they've all just backed off, just to try and make it easier, apart from the flank attack, of course. So the one remaining unit that was getting overwhelmed on my opponent has turned to face. So I can't get the flanks anymore. I'm trying to break them. It's difficult. But as you can see in the top corner, the cavalry have taken the easy way out and just looted the camp. Which gives me another 3 points. And that's enough for a full win. And no units lost. As you can see, they're backing off. Even my javelin guys managed to hold out in the middle. So my opponent had no luck at all. I mean, I didn't have much luck on the left flank, but I had a huge amount on the right flank, which is really where I needed it. No matter how much luck I didn't get on the left, that flank was always going to win, really. So anyway, I'd realised I didn't put any pictures of rather nice army at the beginning, so I put some in at the end. Loads of figures. Bob's a big Romans fan, so am I. And I thought I'd show you some of the units, different style to mine. Kind of dark looking, but based very much on Gladiator movie. So there's the great man himself with his dog. So overall, it went to plan, really. I have to say, the overwhelming the left flank. Finally, the cavalry did their business. The cavalry have been a real surprise in this game. You don't get many of them, and they're not that tough, but you can manoeuvre them in, and it's the old hammer and anvil, with the legions being the anvil, and then the cavalry trying to hammer in. On the right side, I mean, luck kept me in that, to be honest. I did as much as I could to avoid contact. But my opponent, Bob, played a good game. Kept getting the flank attack. Getting no luck. Almost broke through the centre. I think if he'd been a bit more aggressive there, this could have gone a bit horribly wrong. But overall, shows the manoeuvrability of Romans. I think a Roman-on-Roman game was very exciting. It was good. Good spirit. It shoved me up the tables a bit. With the full 200 points, but only 3 rounds. I'm not going to catch the top player, still don't think. If it was 4 rounds, maybe a chance to get my revenge on Simon later on. So there you go, third and final round to follow soon. Hope you enjoyed that. Please comment, let me know you're out there, and in the meantime, keep flipping.